Hi, let's take a look at some more reflection shaders now. So open the reflection shader library and let's choose the metal shader. As you can see from its name, basically it's used to simulate metal. And it doesn't support any ray trace characteristics like reflection, transparency, refraction, but it allows you to simulate the metal look pretty quickly. As you can see, we have three parameters here we can add. There's a luminescence setting, the shininess setting, and the specularity setting. Let's try modifying and seeing what they do. The luminescence setting allows you to set the brightness of the object. So by applying a high luminescence value to an object, you make it look like pretty bright metal. Then the shininess basically allows you to affect how shiny the metal looks. So let's increase it all the way up to the top and let's apply it to our object and see what it looks like. As you can see, it looks a bit more shiny now, like it says. The specularity allows you to modify the size of the specular highlights. By increasing it, you make the specular highlights smaller. By decreasing it, you make them more blurred and more spread out. So it's applied, let's see, a very small specular highlights or a very high specularity to our object. So what that looks like. As you can see in our object, we have much smaller specular highlights now. Let's apply some variations to our other objects to see what we can do. Let's try maybe a high luminescence, medium shininess, medium specularity to our medium object over there. And then let's try maybe a low luminescence, a high shininess, and maybe a high specularity to our object back over there. And then let's do a scene render to see what that looks like. As you can see, we can use it to fake the metal look quite quickly, and renders quite quickly too. But the problem is that it doesn't quite look like metal yet. So next alternative we have is to use the calligraphy metal shader. And what this does, that actually does use the ray tracing functions that we have. So let's go open up our panel over here and turn on ray tracing. Let's close that back down. And this supports reflection, transmission, and refraction. And as you can see, we have these three extra parameters over here that we can edit. We have the reflection setting over here, which affects how reflective the metal is. So it's applied to our object over here. So make it really reflective. And let's not render it all the way down. But now it's basically really reflective. Increasing it makes it reflect more. Decreasing it makes it reflect less, quite simply. Then there's the transmission setting. And what that does basically affects how transparent the object is, or how much the light transmits throughout the object. So by increasing it, we can make it more transparent. By decreasing it, we can make it less transparent. Now the refraction setting here affects how the light is refracted through the object, and basically increasing doesn't do anything unless you have a bit of transparency so you can see the refraction through the object. So let's try halfway of transmission and some refraction. Let's apply it to our objects and see what it looks like. Apply to that one, and let's apply maybe a low transmission and a low refraction to our back one over there. And let's apply maybe high refraction, high transmission, and be high reflection to the one up front over here. And let's do a scene render to see what it looks like. And there we go. As you can see, you can use it for quite some interesting effects. Try it out and see what you can do for yourself.